All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Wednesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Hope everybody has had a phenomenal Tuesday and hope your Wednesday is off to a great start. We're going to dive in and get straight to it. So, please, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper for notes. And let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. So, real quick, if you can hear me okay, drop me a one in the chat. My setup has been acting interesting this morning. So, cool deal. Appreciate it. So let's dive in. We got some news to take a look at and to prepare for. Um, so let's get to it. So we'll hop over to trading economics and see what is happening. So, uh, off the top, Eurozone jobless rate hits new low. The unemployment rate in the Euro area decreased slightly to 6.5% in March, uh, the lowest on record compared to market expectation of 6.6 and last year's 6.8%. A tight labor market coupled with high inflation gives the ECB more leeway for policy tightening. Among the largest EU economies, the highest rates were recorded in Spain and Italy and France, while the lowest in the Netherlands and in Germany. All right. So, uh, bullish euro overall, right? That is the sentiment. So we'll take a look at some euros and see how they responded to that news. It was there were some that gave a decent response. Um, what all eyes are on today, though, is the Fed rate decision. All right, the Fed rate decision, and we're looking at the Fed increasing rates by 25 basis points. All right, expected to raise the federal funds rate by 25 basis points to a range of 5 to 5.25 during its May 2023 meeting, marked the 10th increase and bringing borrowing costs to the highest since September 2007. Investors will closely monitor any indications that the Fed is nearing an end of its rate hike campaign, with any speculation that the central bank may even cut rates by the end of the year, although inflation remains high, or more than twice the central bank's target. It has been slowing down, and the economy is exhibiting signs of strain. The GDP growth in Q1 was significantly lower than anticipated, and the earnings season has so far shown a decline in earnings for a second consecutive quarter. So, some slowdowns happening, right? But still, things are still tight. Things are still interesting. So, looking to see what Fed Chair Powell has to say during that press conference that will give us the insight necessary on what the future looks like for rate increases. All right. So that's the news. Hop over to the calendar. We'll do a quick update there. And the jobless rate for New Zealand came in hot, right? Um, Unemployment rate below the expectation, and employment change increased, right, for New Zealand. So we'll take a look at some New Zealand pairs also if we got some time, see how the market impacted there. But again, like we said, right, we got ADP non-farm employment change coming in at 815. ISM services PMI could also give us some indication, right? But the Fed already knows what they're going to do, right? We'll see if those data points fall in line with what the Fed has to say. We also have crude oil inventories coming in at 10:30 as well. All right, so that is the day today. Are there any questions from a fundamental perspective or anything that you guys have seen that caught your eye fundamentally? No? All right. All right. Let's see. Good morning, those that just joined us. So let's hop over to the market. We'll take a quick peek at the dollar, and then we'll dive into some of these pairs. I do want to take a look as we get started at some of the setups that we posted in the Discord, just so we can see where we are on the week as far as our setups go. So I'm going to pull this crown pattern out. We're still working on that crown, but this is where we are right now from a daily perspective. We're pressing back down, right? We're at the top of the range yesterday, working our way back down, potentially to the bottom of this range, 12,722. We'll see how the market responds to see what happens here, right? We do have a level of support here, but I took that out just so that that range can be present. The overall range that we're working in, we can watch, right? Which is here. That's the full range. So we do have that level of daily support that we could push down to and see if we stay in that tighter range. But that's where we sit from a dollar perspective. Not a ton of movement necessarily, but it is pressing back down to the bottom of that range. Coming down to the 4, that's what that looks like on the DXY. All right. So that is that. Setups that we had in the Discord. Let me get that back up here. But one was posted yesterday, and it was that UJ, right? The dollar yen. Dollar yen. Oh, let's clean some of this up here. What's happening? There we go. All right, so let's come back down to the 1 hour. Right, this is that dollar yen setup, and we are in nice profit here. Right. I'm pulling up the Discord so we can take a look at it as well. Here we go. Trade ideas. Yeah. So this dollar yen, that was our trade setup, 78 pip stop loss, right? So we're currently up 195 pips on that trade setup. Hopefully some folks were able to take advantage of that. We're working our way down to that daily support level and that TP1 zone at 245. Nice work, Carolyn. Great work. Didn't take this one, but took the CAD yen. Great work, Brandy. We'll take a look at that one as well. That one was a beautiful move. So that's the UJ. Posted that on the Discord. We're making some good progress there. Glad some of you were able to take advantage of that one. The other one was that CAD yen that Brandy mentioned, right? And it was 3 yen crosses. So where are we at? CAD yen. Okay. And this was the setup here. This was the setup here. Right? Boom. Pushed right into that 118 to 127 zone as expected, and then fell off in a beautiful way. We're working our way to TP2 now. We are up from that entry point. We are up 232 pips, right? Yep, we had an entry at 101,692, and then we got that push. Boom. All right, so 232 pips. So that's that's all right, Joy. That's all right. So 223 plus 195. So right now we're sitting at 418 pips to the good for the week. And then the other one was the euro yen. And we're having some conversation about this one in the Discord yesterday as well with Janice. And I was looking at it on my phone. It looked a little bit different. But Janice had ran her fib or her smart fibs off of this low, looking at this 4-hour fib here. Looking to see if price bounces back to the upside to give us an 80-20 on the 4-hour. That's what Janice was looking at. So ultimately, her fib was in the right spot. Just didn't have that first one showing. So misread that one off my phone. But the setup was here on the 1 hour, and that's what it looked like there, right? Stop loss up there, 149 pips to the upside, but price is pressing down in this 80-20 on the 1 hour. So off of this entry here at that 118 or 127 zone, right? We were in drawdown about 100 pips, and then price pushed in our favor, and we are currently to the good another 99 pips. So overall, right now we're sitting at 517 pips in profit as we work our way through the rest of the week, right? So we want to make sure that we're managing our trades and start to manage your stop losses, right? I do need to make some adjustments to mine, right? And we'll move that to in profit there. Like so, right? And price is starting to break this support level here, right? So this is a good indication for us, right? If we get a nice, strong bearish break of this previous monthly level, right? Breaking back below, look at getting a retest of that level and then a continuation down to that support level, understanding that tomorrow we do have a rate decision coming out of the Eurozone, right? So we'll continue to monitor those setups as we keep pressing through the week, right? Yeah, those are the three. So glad you guys were able to take advantage of those. And we'll continue to monitor them and see how they go. All right. Any questions on any of those three setups that we posted so far?
Nothing for me. I'm glad that I just joined this Janice. This one I was talking about yesterday. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me, but I was looking at it on my phone and it looked a little different, but your fib ultimately was in the right spot, right? So you just
it wasn't.
It was.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You ran it off of this low instead of starting it here, right?
Right.
But ultimately, it puts you in the same position. So
okay.
We'll see what happens, right? I was just saying if we break below this monthly level here, right, we could continue to press down and get to these support levels. So just monitor that. We could be already on the move to the downside there.
Did it get to the 118 though?
Not on the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we broke here, right? On the 1 hour, this was the setup that I posted in the Discord, right?
Oh, okay. 1 hour
here that we were playing.
So on a 4-hour, then I would be able to miss that move, or I would have to wait a little longer.
Yeah, here on the 4-hour, right?
Yeah,
it's already on the move to the downside off the B boundary, right? So if it breaks below this level here and stays below, then we're looking at price to continue to the downside. So you'd be looking for something like this on the 4, pull back and retest that level for a break and retest type scenario to give you a high price there, right? And what that looks like here on the 1 is like this, right?
Yeah.
So get that break, then you look for a pullback and a retest, and you can run your sub fibs off of it like this and look for a fresh AB boundary to form, and then look for a pullback, and then look for a high price to get it on the continuation to the downside.
Okay, seems like yeah, it does. It seems like can you catch those things more on the 1 hour than the 4 hour, the 80-20s and stuff like that?
They form everywhere, right? So it's all going to be dependent on what time frame you choose to trade on. You want to make sure that you're consistent in that, right?
Right.
So if you're going to trade off the 4 hour, just know that these scenarios they'll take longer to play out, right? And you just have to sit and wait for them. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So that's just the thing there. But they show up on all time frames.
Gotcha.
All time
Okay.
frames. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's where we are on the euro yen. Let's see. Once the UJ finishes playing out, wait for a swing low. Yeah, if your overall bias on the UJ is long, if you're long on the dollar, then yeah, you would want to look for a swing low and break of a trend line or push back through a cloud and reversal to the upside. Yep. Yep. All right. Cool deal. Let's take a look at. I was going through some of these dollar. Let's go back to these dollar pairs since we got the Fed coming in a short while. So we looked at the UJ, right? Let's take a look at the dollar CAD. This one is interesting. So let's go back to the daily here. All right. So from a daily time frame perspective, this is where we are. And we're caught in this large range, right? We got a 50% retracement. We came down to that level 4 times, right? And we're pressing back to the upside here, right? Pressing back to the upside here, coming to the top of the smaller range, but we'll see what happens, right? We see this level has been tested multiple times. We broke through, came back, broke back below it. Now we have a swing high here. Yeah, Benit definitely has a mind of its own right now. But it kind of makes sense, right? You have the Bank of Canada that has already paused rates, and you have the Fed coming into a scenario where they got to make a decision. And investors are looking at the potential of them pausing rates in the very near future, right? So it'll be interesting. And you have oil kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit. So it definitely makes the situation interesting. So what I'm looking at here is nothing, honestly. I'm just watching this one. If we break above this daily level, then we'll push back to the top of the range. But ultimately, I want to see if price breaks above this B boundary. I want to see if price breaks above this B boundary. So as we track down through the time frames, coming to the 4, let's come here, run our fib to the upside. All right, and they get taken out as we move through. Boom, right? And so we get into this consolidation, bounce back and forth. And so we'll play the game, track them all the way through, right? Come to the high. Those got taken out. So we'll come to the low and we'll run them to the upside. So this is where we sit now on the 4 hour. All right. We got a 618 retracement here, right? And we're pushing long, right? So if we break above that level, then we'll be headed to the D extension there, right? However, if we stay below that level, right, we could be staying in this range and pressing back down to the downside, right? So all depending on the Fed and what the Fed has to say. We also got some key economic data coming out of Canada on Friday also. So all in all, it's kind of all over the place, right? So this one I don't have much on. Right.
Can I dare ask what your cloud look like on the hour?
Cloud on the hour. Yep. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to run this fib to the upside also while we're here. Boom. And the cloud on the hour looks like that. Broke above, bullish. There you go. You got an 8-6 retracement. And see, this is also what makes it interesting, right? You got a 1 hour D extension coming in line with that daily resistance level here. So once we get there, we could see a reset and another pullback, right? So yeah. But we did break above the cloud, right? Which is a good indication there of some bullish action. So we'll see what happens once we get to 136. What you looking at anything particular on this one, Joy?
I was getting mad at myself about this chart, and I just closed out because I did miss my entry from the sweet spot, so I was leaving it alone.
I got you.
But then when I noticed that it had already hit, not necessarily for a 80-20, and the 382 already got hit, that if it goes back below the 382, that I was going to continue bearish on it. But then I was like, let me just wait for the news and just see what it do afterwards.
Yeah, I'm with that sentiment of just waiting on the news and seeing what happens.
Because where's support at? Where's the next daily support at?
Next daily support?
Yeah.
Let me verify that, but I believe that's the level there. Let's see.
I forgot to mark my 38 because see, it's still bouncing off the 382, right?
Well, this is a sub fib here running to the upside.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a sub fib there off of that low, but it is off the 382 off that sub fib, right? But your next daily support isn't until down here 132.961, right? So that's that range that we could be looking at if we stay below that level.
Yeah, I think I was gonna wait for that area, like in the sweet spot in the sub fib, because it didn't, as long as it don't cross under that A, because it didn't hit there so many times, I think it's gonna keep going south. Mm-hmm. But I was looking for it to come. I'm looking at that indecision candle area and then going back up.
Down here?
No, I was actually looking more far left. I'm sorry. No, keep going. Right there.
Here?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, we definitely could. Like I said, if we stay below that, then we could come back down to the bottom of that range. And then we'll see what happens with this cluster of support. See if it holds and pushes back to the top. Yeah, this one is interesting. That's why I say I'm gonna let it do what it does. And we'll check on it periodically. Yeah. It's interesting.
That look like a ping pong match.
Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. Exactly what it looks like. So we'll see. We shall see. But if we get some breaks in either to the upside, right, we could be looking bullish to continue to the upside to ultimately make our way higher. But the dollar has a lot of work to do if that's going to happen. All right. Any other questions on the dollar CAD? No. All right. Dollar Swiss. So this one is interesting. On a daily, right? I'm gonna pull the cloud off. Daily, this is what we're looking at. Been stuck in this range here for a bit, right? But hovering at this B boundary, 118, 127 is just below this next monthly level of support at 87,592, which is a 2021 low, right? Now, if we zoom out, it's caught my eye. It was interesting. I was just tracking through the higher time frames and looking at it from a broader perspective. And we have this low here in 2011. And if we run our fib like so, right, that's our B boundary there. And we just been hovering here for a while, right? So my thought is, and this is longer term, if we break this monthly support level, right, we could potentially make our way down here, especially if we move to a risk off scenario and we continue to have some of the bank issues that we're having. along with the Fed, if they pause, we could see more of a risk off scenario once investors really look at what's happening. So if all of those things occur, and that's going to take a lot, right? But we could see this come back down to the 70 cents level, right? So that caught my eye. And then as I was moving down through the time frame to a weekly level, right? It was similar insight, right? Similar deal. That's a B boundary on the weekly as well. 50%, just shy of a 618 retracement, right? So it'll be interesting. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Joy. Especially if if the Fed increases now, pauses at the next meeting, right? We could see an initial bullish response from investors, right? And in the stock market. And then once we actually take a look at things, the Fed pausing, we could also start to see more bank issues happening, also seeing issues in the commercial real estate sector. And as investors look at all of the pieces of the puzzle, the Fed pausing doesn't give a good sign for where we are economically. And so I think initially we'll see a bullish response if that occurs, and then we'll see a reversal in that, and we'll start to see some moves to safe haven. So so we'll see what transpires, but that's just my thought. So I agree with you from a risk off perspective. But if we start breaking these levels, right, we could potentially see 77.39 again, right? We could potentially see that. And you see, this was the action through, well, overall, right? This dollar Swiss has been pressing to the downside, right? But this was also the action through that 2008 banking situation, and right, all of that. That this was the move, right? Pressing to the downside through all of that, and we're starting to see some of those similar things happening now. Right. So we could see similar action here in that press to the downside. So that's just my thought from a longer term perspective, as I'm looking at all the information and all the listening to all the talking heads and people saying what they're saying, but also looking at the chart and seeing what's happening from a technical perspective as well. So we shall see how things transpire. But back to where we sit today, this is our active fib on the daily time frame, right? So ultimately, if all of that is to occur, we do want a high price to be able to get short on this dollar Swiss. So what we could see in the short term, right, is another press down to the support level. And maybe we get a pullback to at least a 382, retest this daily level again, right? Hold on. My bad. Retest that daily level again, and then that could potentially give us the opportunity to get short, making that way to the downside, right? So that's the daily, and as we continue moving down through the 4 hour, right, we'll come back to the high, run the fibs down. So what's interesting, Janice, you mentioned the UJ. The dollar can be used as a safe haven or a risk on asset. So what'll be interesting with that UJ, we could potentially see some bounce back and forth, and we could potentially honestly see the dollar rally in that UJ situation. We could, right? If things get bad enough, and if we see individuals continue to move away from the dollar, then we could potentially see that shift. But I think initially with the UJ, we could see more bullish action on that one if we move into a risk-off environment, at least initially, before we see things move in the yen's favor. So that's just my thought, though. So here on the 4, right, B boundary, we're pressing sideways. I want to see price push down to this 87,592 level, right? And this could then give us a bounce and a push back to the upside. Getting to at least at 382, retesting that daily level, maybe even pressing higher if the dollar really starts to get bullish. Excuse me, but that's what I'm looking at here for this 80-20 on the 4 on the dollar Swiss. So just going to wait patiently and see if I get some confirmation on that and that push to the downside. So that's on the 4 hour. And then on the 1, let's come back and we'll do the same thing here. Boom. Right, and here's our active AB boundary on the 1, similar to that 4, right? So looking at 80-20 scenario on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, and we need to push down into that 118 and 127 zone. That'll get us there on the daily as well, right? So we'll have confirmation on all 3 levels. And then, right, if then statements, if this level holds, we get a swing low to form, right? Get trend line break, we could be looking for a reversal, at least back to that 91, 192 level to give us a high price. And then we can look for potential short opportunity. So that's the 80-20 that I'm looking at on this dollar Swiss. Just waiting for another push to the downside potentially, or some confirmation of price moving to the upside. Any questions on that dollar Swiss? All of that makes sense on each of those levels? All right. Cool deal. Cool deal. Then I want to look at just in some shorter term intraday scenarios, right? I want to look at this pound yen. So on this pound yen, we've been bouncing a lot, but ultimately, right, everything is basically running against the yen overall, right? We're getting some retracements now, but looking here, this was a previous daily level. This was a previous weekly level. We broke through both of those, and we're coming back to retest those levels right now, right? Coming back to retest the levels that we just broke through in a bullish capacity, right? So 618 retracement, matching the extension on this pound yen at 183,343. All right, so we're bullish, right? So as we come down through the time frames here on the 4, we got a fresh AB boundary, right? Coming back to retest that level at this 236 retracement zone. Okay. 118, 127 zone is at 175,041. Right. So I'm looking at a break and retest scenario here, right, from a higher time frame perspective. As we move down here on the 1, right, I missed this 80-20. Right, I missed this 80-20 here. Price is pressing to the downside, but this weekly level comes in right at that 382. Right, comes in right at that 382. So what I'm looking at here is ultimately these sub fibs to the downside. All right, so I'm gonna pull these out for a second. And I'm looking at these sub fibs to the downside as we got an 80-20 scenario, and I'm looking for see if price reverses. What I'd love to see is one more push to the downside to get to this weekly level and retest it. And that'll give me some confirmation points, right? Break and retest. And, right, we could even get to that D extension and then looking for price to reverse and push to the upside, heading to these higher time frame extension levels, right? If we get that action, right, this this weekly level to hold that support, right? Then move to the upside to that next level is over 600 pips, right? So right now on the sub-fib, we are sitting in an 80-20 zone. So I'm watching this closely to see if we do get some confirmation of a reversal, right? Like I said, I love to test that support level and then get a bounce. So I'm watching this one closely here, all right, for a reverse opportunity. Okay, you guys follow me on this pound yen?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll keep our eyes peeled on it, right? Let's see what the cloud is saying. Yeah, so we're breaking below the cloud now. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're bearish on the cloud too. Yeah, this will be interesting to see what happens, right? But if we break back,
Where will you put your trend line at?
On this one? Yeah, I'd run the trend line like this. Whoops.
I've been finding myself having to take everything off to put the trend lines on because I can't see the wicks.
Yeah. Be like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we get that break, right, and as we could continue to slide down, right, even through through the day, right, into that Fed press conference, and then maybe we see that bounce happen, right? So that's the one I'm watching closely there to see what transpires. Okay. Any questions?
No, not for me.
All right.
Not yet.
Not yet. I love it. That's good. That's cool.
That's more appropriate for me too. Not
That's
yet.
cool. Cool deal. All right, so that's that. Then we didn't take a look at a lot of euros yesterday. So let's take a look at let's pause.
I ain't gonna even lie. I looked at it.
You looked at what?
I actually opened that chart up and looked at it and put in considerations.
Which one?
GB.
Your best friend, huh? Let's see. Well, let's see what we see. I haven't looked at this one. This is why I haven't looked at this one. All right. It's literally just been sideways. Right? So I haven't looked at this one, but this is where we stand. 618 retracement, didn't get to that 786, trying to get bullish, right? And overall, right, still bullish on the euro. Unless President Lagarde comes in with something that changes that narrative on tomorrow. Still bullish on the euro, right? They're going to increase rates, could increase by 50 basis points, right? We'll see the euro continue to rally. So moving down through, right? This is the 4-hour look. It's in the sweet spot, right? Bullish on the euro. Got a nice push here, potentially getting a pullback. We could be in for it, right? We could be in for the move. But yeah, this one I tend to stay away from. So coming down to the 1, and this played out, man. We didn't get the initial move here, pushed up to the D extension, but then it came right back to us. Look at that 80-20 scenario here. Bang. I had it marked up, but I didn't take it. I stay away from it.
I'm over here cracking up.
But it came back to us, right down to that level. So that 80-20 played out. So now what we're looking at is yeah, Jenna. So definitely pay attention to the impatience piece, right? Because you want to be able to control that. But we do a lot of examples on the 1 hour, because you hear Benny talk about all the time, getting the reps in, right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. That 4 hours a longer term scenario. You don't get as many reps in as you would on the 1 hour, just because it's a longer time frame, right? So I definitely watch the impatience piece. You don't want that to trickle into you getting into trades too early and not waiting on your confirmation, because that can definitely be a thing, right? So pay attention to that. But just because it's a shorter, a lower time frame, right? You get more fibs to form on the 1 hour,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you do get more reps that way. But if you want to trade on the 4 hour time frame, trade on the 4 hour time frame, right? Don't allow that to change your plan. Okay. But just pay attention to it, right? And as you're going through the exploration process, right? Explore them, right? See what feels best for you as you're moving through, right? So you sounds like you've been testing the 4 hour a little bit, test the 1 hour, right? And what we say is do 100 trades, right?
Oh my. Okay.
That'll give you enough data to be able to determine, right?
Right.
And in that 100 trades, you're also able to really pay attention to your emotions and your feelings and how you feel going through that process, right? So to give you enough data to then determine, okay, this doesn't necessarily fit best for me. Let me take a look at another time frame, right?
Okay.
So as we're testing, as we do testing in different things, we go through the same process, right? 100 trades. And it also helps to work on the discipline and sticking to the rules as well, right? It really forces that repetition. So that's my challenge for you: is get 100 trades on each time frame that you're testing, to then determine which one feels best for you and which one you determine gives you the best results and the best edge.
Okay.
Right? That's part of the exploration process. So keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So pushed up to the upside, run the fib down. That's where we sit right now. Very funny, dog. This is where we are on this Euro GBP, right? Present to the upside. Now, if our bias is bullish, we can run that fib off the low, and that's where we sit there. So we could be, we'll see what happens, right? Could see a pullback. If you get a pullback like that back into your sweet spot, boom, right? And then allow your bullish bias to take you. So that's where you are on this Euro GBP on the 1 hour. If this is your cup of tea, could take you 18 to 24 weeks, but as we see, it plays out the same way, just take a little longer. So there we go. There. Right. So that's the Euro GBP. Questions here?
Nope. Thank you.
Is this what you were looking at, Joy?
I was looking at that, but I got myself confused because the Euro strong and the upcoming news. So I'm like, I just left it alone. Yeah. But when you showed that 1 hour, I forgot you marked that up because I was like, I ain't taking that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was there. It was there. Right? It was definitely there. Even when we don't like it, it still does what it does. So we'll see. We'll see, right? We could get that move down. And on this one, my bias on this overall is long. So I'd be waiting for low price to get long here if I was trading this one. But I'm not. So But for those that do, there you go. Any questions on that Euro GBP?
Nope.
All right. Cool. Euro dollar still pressing to the upside. Still pressing to the upside. We've been hovering at this. Let's go to the weekly. Been hovering at this weekly level for quite some time, right? We might be in to break that level and press higher, depending on what the Fed has to say. We come down to the daily. We got that 618 retracement, and we're trying to break this level and press long, but we've struggled big time. Right? We struggled big time. So we got to continue to watch to see. That's a daily resistance level there. See what the Fed has to say, because ultimately that's going to determine. And then you got ECB following along with non-farm payroll. So we got a lot of things back to back to back that could give us a push in one direction or the other, right? So be patient here, be patient here, be patient here. But overall, the bias is bullish on it. Coming down to the 4, right? We got that 8.6 retracement. At 118 level is here. Got to break above that new daily level there in order to get there, right? So we could push into this next zone here, get into this 111 level, and at least get to the 4 hour on the. Get to the D extension on the 4 hour. 114 is the D extension on the daily. So got some levels to break to get there, right? But depending on what happens this week, we could start to see those breaks. Tracking down to the 1. I'm going to run the fib off the low here. And there we go. Right. D extension again is above that level. So bullish overall. This level is holding as price bounces on the lower time frame, bounces around it. So this is another one that I'm just watching to see what happens from a fundamental perspective, see if we get a catalyst in one direction or the other, right? But overall, the bias is long. Okay, bias is long. Questions on that euro dollar? We looked at the euro yen, right? Let's see what we're doing. Yeah, nice break below, right? So nice bearish candle there, coming back to retest potentially. So we'll continue to monitor that. We could move bearish through today, and as we get into tomorrow, then we could start to see those reversals. But that's the euro yen. And we're at an interesting spot too, right? From a monthly perspective, we did break this monthly level last month. We're coming back to retest it, right? We have 2 monthly levels here. Here and here. So we could see price come back and retest that second monthly level as we pull back. Where'd that go? Let's see. I think I deleted that off the lower time frame. There, yeah. So that's that second monthly level there, right? And that level falls in line with our TP as well, right? Our first take profit level. So on the daily, ultimately the bias on this one is still bullish, right? But we're getting a retracement, right? And that retracement, that second monthly level is that B boundary on the daily, right? So this is how it all comes into alignment here, right? Second level is a 382, in line with that 382 on the 4 hour, right? And coming back down to the 1, just above that 382 on the 1 hour, right? So it's all in alignment from a higher time frame perspective. So this take profit 1 could be as deep as we get, and then we could see that reversal happen. So that's the euro yen. Take a look at this euro Swissy. Still bouncing. That's where we are on the 4. Could potentially get this crown action. Like this. All right. So trying to push back to the upside here. We'll see if we get some follow through on that crown, right? We did get to the 382 there, right? But overall bullish on the euro. We'll see what happens with the Swissy. But we broke that trend line. We talked about, I believe we talked about this one. But trend line's coming down, right? We broke the trend line. Boom. Now we're pulling back and we're retesting the backside of that outer trend line. Right. So if we get price to hold, starting to get some bullish action here, right? And we can even run. Here, let's see. Yeah. We could be looking for that move to the upside here. Yeah, there's your sub fib 80-20 right there, right? So here's an intraday opportunity for you on a sub fib 80-20. Could be in for the right tip of that crown, pushing long on that Euro Swiss. So if you trade these sub fib smaller waves, there's the opportunity there. Stop loss like that. Let's see. What is that? It's 30 pips to the D extension. 618 is 30 pips. Nice bullish move there. I'm gonna play this one. We got crown action, retest of the trend line, right? 80-20 on the sub fib, 30 pip stop loss. If we get that move back to the upside, right? Here's our fib on the crown, 618 retracement, matching the extension, looking at 99,525. I like that. So, what's this level? 97823. We're gonna take this one, guys. Boom. Here we go. Shift that down a little further. Boom. All right. There it is. All right. I'm looking for price to come to that 99525 level. We have it. Entry is a market entry, Carolyn. Make sure it meets your rules, though, right? Just because I take the trade doesn't mean that you should, right? Make sure it meets your rules before you pull the trigger. If it meets your rules, pull the trigger and let it do what it does. Okay. Boom. There we go. All right. You holding this one long, Joy?
Yeah, I had gotten into that first leg and I was waiting to see if it was going to hit that D extension, but I noticed it was coming back up. Back down. So I was like, I might as well just hold it.
Yeah. Hey, nice work. Nice work. Good patience. Good patience. So here we go. All right. Take a look at the Euro Aussie, and we will wrap it up there. Euro Aussie is interesting. Longer term, right? Here's the long term view. Okay. This is 80-20 all the way. Right? We're pushing long. Bullish on the euro. Right? The Aussie gave us some interesting action on the pullback to retest that level that we broke, right? But we're trying to press back long, right? This is an 80-20 scenario on the Euro Aussie all day long from a weekly time frame perspective. Coming down to the daily, right? We got a nice deep retracement push to the upside. We're in this 118, 127 zone, but we may not get it, right? We may not get that full reversal. You see the rejection off that that monthly level, retesting that level that we broke through, right? So we could be looking to continue bullish here. Coming down, right? This was the setup that I had marked up a long time ago. I had my stop at that level. I did get taken out. Price pressed down. Just came back to retest it, and it's pushing back long, right? So overall, we're bullish on this one. This one is invalid at the moment, right? And price is pushing back to the upside. It was a sub fib 80-20 there, running up, coming down to our one. This is what that looks like here, right? So we're pressing back long, push back above that monthly level. Bias is bullish overall on this one. And we're looking at that, right? So could see a pullback happen, right? To retest that level again. But ultimately, I'm looking for, if we do get that pullback, I'm looking for price to continue running to the upside. All right, so that's the Euro Aussie. That's the Euro Aussie. Questions here? I know it's a lot of bouncing back and forth, but right, if you look at on the 1 hour, there you go. Boom. 618 retracement on the capital fib, and we'll push it long. All right. I want to check on this Euro NZD before we wrap. Continue to come down. So longer term, right? Broader view. This may not play out because of the bullish bias on the euro, but we do got potential crown action here if we're able to break back below 175 for 427, right? Don't know if that'll happen. New Zealand seems relatively bullish also, so we'll see, right? So as we track down through, we got an 80-20 here on the daily, right? That right tip of the crown if it continues. And we'll see if we get price continue pressing down. I'd at least love to see it get to that 175, 477 level. We'll see. Coming down to the 4, this was the setup here off the 4 hour, right? 80-20, boom. Pushed into that weekly level at 180, and we got the move down to the downside. All right, so off that entry, we're sitting at 336 pips to the good. Right, we'll see if we get to, there should be TP1. See if we get to that TP1 level. We may not, depending on what the ECB does tomorrow. But that's where it sits. Okay, and here's a look off the 1 hour. It was a fresh AB boundary. Getting some pullback action now, right? Let's see if we get continuation at least down to some of those lower levels before we get that reversal. So that's the Euro NZD. I believe we posted this one in Discord a little while ago. All right. Questions here?
None from me.
Oh, then you know what I mean then. Oh, I'm sorry. He must have been thinking about me. Yeah, right. Ryan, I done forgot what I was about to say because I done called you Vinny and I forgot what I was about to say. Or I'm sorry. Oh, I know what it is. I've been making sure I've been looking at the spread. And so instead of me putting my entry at where I want, I've been putting it above or where the count of the spread, and I've been noticing I've been having better luck with it. I don't know why.
Good work.
Yep.
Details. Nice work. Benny's on vacation. Benny and his family, they had a vacation plan, and they're out enjoying the cruise life. So much needed vacation for him and his family. So yeah. All right. Good deal, good people. Any questions on anything that I covered this morning before we wrap it up?
None for me.
No. All right. You guys have a phenomenal Wednesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.